Pam Bondi said that hate speech is a big issue and we need to crack down. Look, I have said in multiple videos in the last couple of weeks that Charlie Kirk, I think he was a good person. Obviously, had some controversial political opinions. Definitely didn't deserve to die. And anyone supporting any level of violence, even if it's something much on a much smaller scale, I don't support any of that. So this isn't some sort of support for hateful rhetoric. And I do believe people celebrating his death are hateful, no doubt about it. But that is where our First Amendment is tested. It's tested when people burn the flag. It's tested when people burn the LGBTQ flag. It's tested when people say slurs out in public. That's when it's tested. That's where we see, do we really have a First Amendment? Do we really have a right to say what we want? Now, you obviously can't call for violence. Well, I guess some of these people are calling for violence, and that should be addressed. If you're saying that other Republicans should be taken out, or if you're a Republican saying the Democrats, yeah, that's a crime. That is threatening to either murder somebody or threatening to assault somebody, and that is a crime. That's not free speech because that is a separate crime. So that's a bit of a different case, but specifically just saying hateful things, saying that he deserved it, or you don't like him, or he's stupid, XYZ, whatever. Look, as rude as it is, as hateful as it is, as much as I don't like it and you probably don't like it, if we're going to start cracking down on mean people from the government, now it's one thing. It's one thing if me and you say, I don't like you, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to associate with you because you're making fun of people who die. That's one thing, and that's fine to a degree. The issue is when the government gets involved, when the FTC says that if you criticize Charlie Kirk, we are banning you from ABC, to Jimmy Kimmel, who I guess is back now. I'm not super focused on the Jimmy Kimmel aspect of it because there is a little bit of a murky situation. Was the call from the, it seemed like the FTC kind of pressured them and said that if he speaks about Kirk at all, then he's going to be fired. It's a little murky. I'm not exactly sure if that's probably a First Amendment ground or if that's a private business. It's a little complicated because they do get a license from the government, so they do have to kind of listen, and then the government is also deciding if they are able to buy other companies. I can't really comment if that's a First Amendment issue. I would lean on the side of not putting pressure on private companies to fire people. So I don't support the firing of him, but it looks like he's been brought back. So I guess that's good. I don't know. Back to the individual people and Pam Bondi saying that we need to crack down on hate speech. Look, I just find it completely absurd. And this isn't Pam Bondi specific because we've had multiple administrations. You know, Biden 1, Trump 1, Trump 2, Obama. But, you know, in my entire lifetime, this hate speech rhetoric, you know, free speech is free speech, but hate speech is not free speech. And it's like, what does that mean? Look, if you're not committing a crime, if you are not committing a crime while speaking, that's free speech. It seems pretty simple to me. Look, you don't have to like what the people say. That's kind of the reality of the situation. Free speech, the First Amendment doesn't protect my right to say I like apples over steak. Who cares? That doesn't need to be defended in the Constitution. What needs to be defended in the Constitution is my ability to be mean, to be hateful, to be controversial. That's what the First Amendment is about. And look, I don't support what these people are saying. And I don't support people, you know, calling gay people slurs. I don't support any of this stuff. But you have to support their right to do it. Because it's not going to be long before a different person gets in power. You know, maybe you are a Republican, maybe you're super MAGA, and you like the crackdown on the hatefulness versus or against Charlie Kirk and his passing. I get that. Maybe you like it now. But in 3 years, in 3 years, there will be a new administration. Might be another Republican, it might be a Democrat, it might be an independent. But we are setting the precedent through multiple different administrations that your speech, you kind of have it, you kind of don't have it. It's up to interpretation. Depends on who the president is. What? Why does the president get to decide if I can be hateful? Why does the president get to decide what flags I can burn or who I can criticize? That's just ridiculous. I mean, it genuinely is ridiculous that any president in any administration, the FBI, the DOJ, that they can crack down on mean speech, that they're going to look into people who say mean things. It's a serious issue. And look, it comes down to the debate on do you prioritize liberties or safety? And unironically, Charlie Kirk has had this debate on the First Amendment and on the Second Amendment, and I do agree with him on both of these topics, that there is obviously a line, and the First Amendment, there's not really safety concerns necessarily, but there are concerns in terms of, do we want to support and foster a environment of everyone being super hostile towards other people? And I do understand that. In an ideal world, nobody's being rude to anyone, nobody's being mean to anybody, nobody's calling anyone a slur, nobody's burning any flags. Yeah, that's an ideal world. I don't do any of those things. But the issue is, there are a lot of things that I've said, there's a lot of things you've said. Who decides what's hateful? If I become the president, can I just say anybody that doesn't like the Ravens and Lamar Jackson is hateful? And you might laugh at that idea. You might say, oh, come on, that's not what's happening. It's possible. If making fun of a community or a person can be illegal, or a country in the Middle East, which is illegal in most states, what's not fair game? Because it sure seems like anything is fair game. Any sort of speech can be interpreted by the president, by your governor, by the county, by the police. It seems like everything is up for interpretation. And even if they don't crack down, it still limits speech because people are scared to talk. So I think hate speech does not exist. I find it absolutely ridiculous. And in regards, obviously, to Charlie Kirk, because that was why this has been brought up by Pam Bondi, the Charlie Kirk loss, it hurts free speech in two different ways. Number one, as I've mentioned in previous videos, he was a peaceful person. Now, maybe you think he was a douchebag, maybe you think he was a jerk, fine. I'm not going to debate that. I don't really care. But he was speaking peacefully, he was a nonviolent person, and he was killed. So anyone else that wants to speak in public, really any person who's going to be controversial, has to think twice. And although it's not the government cracking down, it's obviously a citizen, unless you're big into conspiracy theories and you think the government did take him out, but I believe it was the Robinson kid. That kid did so much damage to the First Amendment. It's not even, one person is taking away so many of our rights. Number one, everybody's scared to go in public and be controversial, which should not be the case. You should be able to be as controversial as you want in public without having bodyguards, without having to wear bulletproof vests, without having to hide under a tent. All that stuff is laughable. And then obviously now, because of the Kirk death, and we have people insulting Kirk and making fun of him, now we have the government cracking down. So now if I want to be controversial in public, I have to worry about getting sniper shotted. Excuse my grammar, that sentence doesn't even make sense. And I have to worry about Pam Bondi arresting me. So now I've got two different things I have to juggle. I might get shot by a crazy person, and I might get arrested by Pam Bondi at the same event. You don't even know who you should be afraid of.